Hey guys, it is Anna. Welcome back to my channel, The Nurse Code. If you haven't already subscribed, please go ahead and do so. Bring your friends, all your little classmates. But yeah, please subscribe to my channel. And I hope the videos that I've been posted have been helpful. So today we're going to discuss private versus public programs. Personally, I am in a private program, but I did do all my prerequisites at my community college. So whenever I go to do my BSN, because I'm in an ADN program, so whenever I do go to get my bachelor's, I'll be able to use all those credits that I took at my community college and use it towards my bachelor's program. Because if you take your prerequisites at a private college, most of them, it depends, but in my experience, most of them and friends that I've had that have done that, they haven't been able to transfer their credits to another private school or to a community college. I know Kaiser, they don't transfer out most of their credits. So it's very smart to, if you want to do the private route for just a program, it's smarter to get your prerequisites done at a community college. And where I live in Florida, there's not much of a variety of community colleges. There's really only one community college in the area that I live, so I really didn't have a choice. But like I said before, I am in a private program for the nursing ADN program. So I'm gonna go with the private program first with the pros and the cons, just because I'm a lot more knowledgeable on that because that's the program that I'm in. So the first con is that it's a lot more costly. I know a lot of people get discouraged when they hear the cost of a private program, but you guys, like I said, if you get all your prereqs at a community college where it's cheaper and just go to the private school just for the program, that'll take off about 30% of the tuition. And if you work for a company that that they give a discount for, if your parents or your guardian works for a company, sometimes you'll get a discount off your tuition just for the school being affiliated with that organization. So first con is it's a lot more expensive. I'm not gonna lie to you guys about that. It is. That's just the way it is. It's private. Um, Another con is that the breaks are shorter, and a lot of the breaks that a traditional school get, you the private schools, they don't give that break. I know for my school we do 11 weeks on and then 2 weeks off. So each quarter it's 11 weeks, um, and they don't give summer breaks. I started my program in the summer. My birthday was July 3rd, and I started my program July 7th. So I couldn't even do anything, which that was a sacrifice that I had to make, and I know why I'm doing it. So the breaks are shorter, and not you don't get summers off. You do not get summers off. It's just a part of it, and that's just how it is. So the two cons are it's a lot more expensive, and the breaks are shorter. Now for the pros, right? What I like about it, which is why I decided to go with the private program, is because it's a lot more faster than the traditional public school. And it's faster because you don't get a lot of breaks. And I've got my associate's degree, so I did all my prereqs, like I said, in a community college. So I'm just doing my core nursing classes. I'll be done with like everything in December of 2018, and hopefully I'll pass my NCLEX, God's willing, and I'll be a registered nurse. Another pro is that it's so much more, I wouldn't say easier, but it's less of a hassle to get into a private program because most of the schools they only require you to meet a certain T score, and for my school it was a 65, and I got an 80, which I studied for a month. So yeah, but they require, it's less of a hassle to get into a private program. Whereas for the public program, I'll touch on that once I get to the public. But for the private, it's less of a hassle to get in. And once you get in, it's about 2 weeks later that you started. As soon as I passed my TEAS test, my counselor started working with me, getting gathering all my paperwork, doing my physical, all my immunization, my background check, like everything was done within 2 weeks after I passed my TEAS exams. So when I tell you guys that it's like it moves fast, it really does move fast. I just started in July and I'm in my fifth week of the 11th week. So I have like 6 more weeks to go before I get my break. So guys, it moves really, really fast. Okay, so now moving on to the public school. So the first con about the public school is that it's harder to get into only because a lot more people apply to the public school. And usually you have, there's a lot more requirements. Like you have to have a high GPA, you have to have most of your prereqs done, you have to have a really good T score. And I think most the public school in my area, it requires a interview. So there's a lot more requirements and there's a lot more things that you have to have at a certain level versus the private school. And being that it's so cheap, which is another pro for it, it's cheaper, it's more affordable. A lot more people are gonna want to go to the public school versus the private school. So then it's a lot more competitive. So it's harder to get into. It's um it's a lot more competitive, and there's a waiting list. Some schools do a waiting list. Some schools just plain reject you. I mean, that's just the reality. And honestly, I would prefer to be rejected than to be put on a waiting list, because at least I know if I'm rejected, I know that I have to find a plan B or go to my next option versus being put on a waiting list. And if you go on a waiting list and you still don't get it, it's like you wasted all that time when you could have been doing something else. So those are the cons. Being on a waiting list, um, being the program being harder to get into, and then it's a lot more longer. My program, like I said, it's about 15 months. Now, if I was going to a public school, it'll probably be 2 years because I'll get the summer off, I'll get Christmas off, I'll get um, every little holiday that comes, I'll get off. So that kind of pushes the time back to where you would finish versus the private school where you don't get the summer off. You don't get so many days off. You kind of just have to go with it. So the private school is a lot more longer, which for some people, like for those of us that have kids, I don't have any kids, but I have friends that have kids. It works for them because they get the summer off to be with their kids, they get the holidays off to be with their kids. So for some people it works, and that's why you kind of have to do your research on these different programs to know what suits your lifestyle, what suits your financial situation, what suits you. I'm just saying, like, these things have worked for me, and I know people that have gone through programs because I work in a hospital, so I work with a lot of nurses, I work with respiratory therapy, I work with the whole field. So I've heard stories, I've seen people gone through school, I've seen both ends or both sides of the fence. So whatever works for you works for you. Okay, so now moving on to the pros of the public school. It's cheaper. There's no doubt about that. It's a lot more affordable. Some people don't have to take out loans for that. They can just pay as they go. Another pro that you get more space to breathe versus the private school where you just keep going, you keep going, you keep going, you keep going. You don't get a break. You get like 2 weeks break versus the public school where you get like a whole month or month and a half off. So, with that being said, still do your research on whatever school you want to go to, because each school is different. Each school have different requirements. A public school in your area might have a part-time program and a full-time program that doesn't give breaks as often as another public school in a nearby city. So even though that what I mentioned, those are pros and cons of public and private schools, still do your research, still ask questions, you guys. That's like the one thing I've learned with um, getting prepared to start a program. If you don't ask questions, you won't know anything. Not because, you might read it on a website. Policies change. So it's always important to do your research, ask questions, and make the best decision that's suitable for you and your lifestyle. You guys found this video helpful. And again, if you haven't, sorry, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and do so. Also, you guys follow me on my Instagram. It's futurern_Anna.